Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to continue to take a look at the alternate future of the war. In the last chapter of the series, I guess we took a look at fall of 2018, and yeah, stuff happened. Make sure to check out the video if you haven't already. I saw that a lot of people actually liked the video, like I had their extremely support for the series, and thank you guys. And since I saw you guys liked it that much, I'm going to continue it. And yeah, this is the second episode. Like you guys are actually seeing, I'm starting to upload less. It's because school is starting for me too. And yeah, I will try to daily upload week was basically something to I did it before school on purpose, but yeah, I think I talked too much. Let's just get into it. Okay, so this is the map of the alliances, and it's pretty interesting and important. So yeah, we can actually see that stuff has happened, and yeah, we're currently on January of 2019, and we're going to go over to Russia, which is going to do a thing on March of 2019. Yeah, a bit late, but what will happen is that Russia will invite Transnistria to the CSTO. Transnistria will accept, but this will make Moldova mad, and also kind of Romania. And yeah, and now guess what is Russia doing? Oh yeah, let's invade Moldova. So basically what happens is that actually I'm going to sign this with Ukrainian puppet, but yeah. We see Russian forces storm into Moldova. We see that it disappears, poor, and yeah. Now let's take a look at the peace treaty. Oh, that's not good. Moldova is gone. And yeah, this is the current status of the world, and this kind of scares a lot of countries. Like Finland is starting now to get spooked. They're saying, oh god, we might be next. And guess what are they doing? They're applying for NATO membership. Will they get accepted? And the answer is somehow yes, they do. Hungary will kind of try to be a position, sitting with Turkey, but eventually they have to let Finland in. Sweden is also considering joining, but not. And with the entry of Finland, we see actually the start of the Second Cold War between Russia and the USA. Yeah, but now we're going to see that Russia is starting to. They have chose like they have some countries that they can still invade. Well, there's still only a country that they can invade. They're going to do it in the same year because of the Georgian dispute. We're going to see that I'll show them as Russia, but yeah, or like May of 2019, we see Russian forces. No, I do not want to remove Georgia for now. Yeah, we can see that Russian forces join in jointly invade the country with help from Abkhazia and South Ossetia. And yeah, Georgia didn't stand a chance. And we're going to take a look at the peace treaty pretty soon. And alright, you can see that this has happened. Yeah, we see that Russia annexed Abkhazia and South Ossetia because they wanted to be annexed by Russia. I think that's their lore. And yeah, Also, in the Moldovan peace treaty, Novorossiya annexed one province. It's nothing, just one province, but they still did. Yeah, we can see that now Georgia is a Russian puppet state. You can go here in vassals and have Russia having another vassal. Oh yeah, and also Novorossiya is a government. So yeah, tough. But now I think we can take a look at other stuff that is happening. The war, because meanwhile Russia's been going on, they also managed to get some countries on their side, like Iran. They actually get convinced in joining the CSTO, the newly rebranded CSTO, like they join. Um, why it isn't letting me dragging? Okay, here we go, and now they're actually starting to get scared. Like it's 2019, Saudi Arabia and Iran still kind of hate each other, and also there still are conflicts going in Syria. Like, what is this? Like, the Syrian civil war in 2019 was pretty chaotic. I don't know. Oh yeah, also let's put flags because it's more. So yeah, I don't know if I can. So let's just say that Russia supports a kind of weird party, and yeah, Turkey will occupy this and annex this. Then we can see that this coastal province will try to get seized. And what happens is that, oh no, Russia is recruiting the Middle East. Oh, guess who else decided to join? Afghanistan. Whoa, Russia is becoming huge. Well, yeah, they're starting to recruit a lot of countries. And for this reason, we're actually going to see Malaysia is heading to join the Pacific Treaty Organization, which is interesting, but they will still join in to try and help country. But now let's take a look here, because Cuba doesn't like the US. And the US, I think they still have Donald Trump as president. Well, he could have done it in the real timeline. He didn't. But guess what he's about to do? Oh yeah, he wants to spread some democracy to the island by invading it. Yeah, Cuba sadly cannot do anything and they will get jumped. This makes Russia angry because it couldn't be a useful ally. America isn't going to like occupy Cuba forever. They're going to set up a puppet government and it's going to be a democracy, kind of. Yeah, actually, the US are going to annex the island of Cuba, like this one, and they're going to keep it as a military base. And we can see that Cuba will now basically forced to join NATO as a whole. So if to go to vassals, because the US are dating Cuba as a vassal. Here we go. It's probably summer of 2019 at this point. The world is getting pretty chaotic. Yeah, there's also the Panama Canal. Yeah, the Panama Canal is now of the US. And yeah, the world is going pretty chaotic in this second Cold War. Is other stuff happening? Yeah, the Yemen civil war. Things going to great. See, actually Saudi Arabia, which will decide to make an interesting choice, and they will invade the country, which weakens them, but they still hold massive resistance and they survive. So in the peace treaty, Saudi Arabia annexes lands Baturum and of Yemen. They will survive and they will join the CSTO, which is gaining a new member. They aren't as powerful, but yeah. But now let's take a look at the Americas because Venezuela doesn't want to get invaded by the US. And seeing what happened to Cuba, it's better for them if they just. Yeah. And this doesn't make America very happy, but like not at all. What? I didn't do anything. Botswana is still neutral, guys, don't worry. But yeah, we're going to tackle because Societe Egypt is doing stuff. Like they're controlling the Nile currently with Sudan, but we see that Ethiopia is also. There is kind of a rivalry going on between them. Let's just say Egypt doesn't like how Russia is building up allies really fast. Like they don't border one, but they're getting a lot. And Egypt, if they don't like this, so they're going to do something. Going to actually do an anti-Russian campaign, basically. And they will apply for NATO membership. Yes, and we'll see if they get accepted. But they also want Sudan, and like, now we have to do this because Egypt is guaranteeing independence of Sudan. Yeah, since this Ethiopia is pretty angry now to fight Sudan, but they're always at Sudan. They have to, yeah. But now we see that Rwanda and Burundi are actually having a pretty rough crisis. They're having tough times, and they're going to actually like Rwanda is currently they're currently a national populist, but Burundi's conservatism, yeah, they're pretty small and they're pretty weak, and they're going to unite to be strong. The Burundi Union is now looking at the world, basically saying, "Hey guys, look at us. We are now a player." Oh, yeah. Now we see that actually South America is also becoming relevant a bit. Because now we see Venezuela deciding to invade Guyana. With Russian support, they invade and storm into the country in like late October when they finish building up. And they take half of the country. But then Brazil becomes very mad. Like they don't like the Russian, they don't like the Venezuelan expansion and also Russia in general. They vote them out of Guyana and they send them an ultimatum to basically stop, or they will declare war. They will join in. Venezuela knows that like the entirety of the CSTO can beat Brazil, so they decline. And yeah, now the entire CSTO is go to war with Brazil. And guess who is supporting Brazil? Yeah, maybe like some, no, definitely I misclicked. And yeah, but with the help of Brazil, at first Guyana is actually doing pretty good, even though Venezuela, Guyana will have to do this because the capital of Georgetown, the capital of Guyana, is going to get occupied. And now, yeah, this is happening. And now all of CSTO is mobilized to fight against Brazil. And let's just say that the US do not like that. They're starting to support Brazil secretly. And also, most of South America is actually on the side of Brazil. Colombia is on the side of Brazil. Argentina is on the side of Brazil. Chile, Uruguay, Bolivia, like most countries are actually supporting Brazil. Yeah, we're actually seeing that stuff is happening. And when Russian troops do actually arrive, and with Chinese troops, they will try to mobilize their navy and they will try to get an ally, like an ally to get closer them. And they're actually getting Mali to join the CSTO, which is on okay thing, I guess. And they're also getting Burkina Faso. They're also getting Niger. And it is a lot, but they still don't have an ally which borders the sea. They're getting the Republic of the Congo. Yes, I'm not joking. A massive diplomatic mission that Russia did to get allies. Yeah, this scares Sweden enough to let them join NATO. And Egypt also gets accepted. And yeah, also the thumbnail is a bit wrong, sorry guys. But yeah, now with this new fresh Russian equipment, we're going to see that the troops are arriving. The CSTO troops are arriving. We'll sign them as Russia. But yeah, they will actually start bombing the Brazilian coast, like as a distraction. They ain't invading the Amazonian forest, the rainforest yet. They still are trying to get distracted. Meanwhile, Venezuela is now going doing the rest. Well, we see Brazil still helping and doing this encirclement, which basically gives Guyana all of them. We can see that Brazil is like in the 1v1 they could beat Venezuela. But with the entire CSTO mobilized, yeah, it's a bit hard. And Colombia, well, he starts only thinking of joining the war. And they send support to Brazil, like huge support. And thanks to their support, we actually saw a pretty big Brazilian victory. On the coast is pretty different story because the bombings aren't stopping. Nope, they aren't. Not only that, you can see that the Russian Navy is totally mobilizing. with Chinese Navy and all of the navies that are pretty important. They don't have an ally in South America currently, but they might get one soon. Then they discovered in Argentina that Argentina and Chile are supporting Brazil. Guess what China is doing? Like, I think there is a state for for this. I'm going to search if there is. If there isn't, sorry guys. Well, I guess we'll use this. Not here though. Um, like you go down south here. Wait, I think I have to. Yeah, because it that in the south of Argentina, a pretty big rebellion has occurred against the government. Guess we supporting it? Yeah, it's at it cut the country in two, in half, and there is now suddenly a civil war. And also Chile, and this is a pretty big support. And now both countries cut into a half, and they have to defeat Rio de la Plata first to being able to fight against the CCO. This kind of weakens Brazil a bit, which makes Russia being able to bomb and still doing this because they're actually planning a pretty hard operation to do. But meanwhile, Brazil is not giving up. They're getting the win against Venezuela, but then the troops arrive. We can see that there is a counterattack. See that Venezuela is actually getting generals smart enough to do this. But then here we go, because there is another rebellion. The Amazonas have now just rebelled, and they're people from the Amazon rainforest, supported by Russia. And why did they rebel? Because Russia promised them freedom. Russia promised them to be irrelevant. And the tribe was actually interested in it. And we can see that it's a pretty important rebellion, which is helping Venezuela a lot. And Brazil is now fighting a war and the civil war. And this is making all of countries mad. We're currently probably at the start of 2020, like in January. And most countries are actually getting tired. Like, it's getting at a hard point of the war. Like, the Amazons are a pretty big population. Even though they're getting pushed back by the Brazilian military, they cannot fully kick them out. So yeah, they decide that it's best for Brazil to sign a peace treaty, which will be humiliating. Meanwhile, the rebellion here is continuing. And yeah, this isolated province keep on fighting, but it's pretty hard. And they might actually form another country, who knows? And yeah, then we can see that Chile is actually defending themselves pretty. Chile is actually defending themselves pretty good. Same with Argentina. They're taking provinces back in the north but losing in the south. And yeah, now let's take a look at the Brazilian peace treaty. So this is the peace treaty. We can see that the Amazon rainforest tribe has gained itself its independence, and they're now an official country. And it's a pretty big country. Also see that Venezuela gained some land. They also gained a small amount of land from Guyana, which still survives. And yeah. Then we can say that the Rio de la Plata rebellion is actually gaining land. They're getting their independence. Even though the civil war is not ended. Like, they will still fight into this thing. And then we see that the Falkland Islands is becoming a union, the Falkland Union. And yeah, they're moving their capital to like here because it's more strategic location. And I know it's pretty cursed the Falkland Union, but yeah, anyway. See that Brazil, Argentina, and Chile got pretty crippled. This makes the US pretty angry. And yeah, the Cold War is intensifying, like a lot. But now, let's take a look at the alliance layer because the Amazonas are basically forced to join the CSTO. Same thing with Rio La Plata rebellion thing. And this is actually a pretty big joining country list. And yeah, does this help? Yes, it does. But now countries like the Congo, which joined, let's all live because they didn't actually care about joining the line. They were there just for coastal access, and then they decided to leave randomly. Russia is not happy about that. Same thing with China. They might get punished. Who knows? But the other countries that are joining during the war are actually staying, so I guess it's fine. The Amazonas aren't a vassal of Venezuela because if they were, the Amazon people will understand that they're just controlled by Russia. And yeah, but now March of 2020 has arrived. I don't know how to like set. Yeah, so March, even though I cannot set. It's March of 2020, and something is about to happen. We will see what will happen though tomorrow. Not tomorrow, in the next video. See ya.